Welcome to Story Starters. So every week I have a different book with me and I read the first couple chapters of it just to give you a taste of what the book is like. All of them are books we have at the library, so if you want to find out what happens after I stop, you can definitely check it out. If you would like, you are welcome to grab some drawing supplies if you like to sketch, or painting supplies, anything you like to do if you like to keep your hands busy while you listen. When I was younger and would listen to books out loud, I loved sketching pictures, and it kind of helped me focus and listen to the story. But if you want to just sit and listen, that is totally okay as well. So the continent that we've been talking about this whole week has been South America. So I have a book that's set in Peru in South America here. It is called Tree of Dreams by Laura Resau. So I'm going to read the first couple chapters. Tree of Dreams. Chapter 1. El Corazon. I pluck a chocolate heart from the counter and drop it into my mouth, just as I've done a zillion times before. Letting it melt a bit, I slide it around on my tongue, then nibble off the stubs of the veins and arteries. I push it towards one cheek, then another, maximizing taste bud contact. By now, the aorta has dissolved, leaving only the ventricles and the atria. I maneuver the now vesselless heart directly into the center of my tongue and nestle it beneath the roof of my mouth. Then, with my crooked front teeth, I bite the heart in half. This heart comes from the rare National cultivar of cacao, straight from the deepest depths of the Amazon jungle. And that's precisely how it tastes. Notes of earth, wood, flour, nuts, maybe almond. There's a hint of amber honey and some kind of fruit I can't put my finger on. I close my eyes, swallowing the last bits. The flavors linger on my tongue, subtle, mysterious, enduring, nearly perfect. For the next batch, I'll tell Mom to roast the beans at 320 degrees instead of 310 to heighten the smokiness. In elegant script, I pin my description on a creamy card and stick it behind the display glass. Then, with plastic gloved hands, I grab the chocolates one by one from the tray and arrange them on the counter, this time in a spiraling pattern, starting from the outside and working my way in. These hearts are my latest chocolate concoction. The beans sourced from a little co-op Mom's been working with in Peru. The word weird might come to some people's mind when encountering a 13-year-old girl who cares so much about chocolate. I prefer the term rare. If I were writing a description of myself on a creamy card, it would be something like this. Of the Rocky Mountain cultivar, cocoa, hidden, possesses a solid maple complexion with tender layers of petals beneath, a bright touch of acidity at the edges, subterranean hints of sorrow and fear, undercurrents of longing, sweet notes of caramel with a burning touch of bitterness, a rare mix of steadfast and passionate. Once the heart spiral is finished, I step back and survey my work, making a few tiny adjustments. All our chocolates are heart-shaped, that is, molded from a small but anatomically correct model of a human heart. This was Mom's ironic take on the whole chocolate sweetheart romance thing. El Corazon, the heart in Spanish, is the name of our chocolate shop and factory in one. The sign features the blood-red human heart of the famous Mexican Loteria card, complete with veins, arteries, and aorta. Since there's not another soul in the shop, and I don't feel like delving into algebra homework yet, I stare out the window at the snow-tipped peaks imagining the best sipping chocolate recipe for this particular bean, even though it's nearly spring in some places. Here in the mountains of Colorado, late February still means snowy ski season. Ideal hot chocolate weather. I breathe in the scent of the hearts. Maybe I'll add a touch of vanilla and almond, maybe cinnamon. Petals of some sort, too, I'm thinking, to bring out the floral backdrop. My gaze flickers over our shop. High ceilings, exposed brick, wavy glass skylights, old-fashioned arches, swirly antique molding. 4 framed black and white photos of a jungle hang from the walls. A bug-eyed frog, a tropical flower, a palm hut, and giant above-ground tree roots, all as familiar as my handwriting. For all practical purposes, this has been my home for 13 years, since before my birth. From the time I was the size of a cacao bean, the aromas and tastes of chocolate have been seeping into my blood. And in all those 13 years, I don't remember El Corazon ever feeling quite so empty as it does now. My own heart has a unique place for 4 things. Well, technically 3 people and 1 thing. The one thing is our chocolate shop, located in my left atrium. I pop another heart into my mouth, appreciating the endorphins and serotonin zipping around my brain cells. A hint of happiness ripples through me, and the theobromine adds to my freshly relaxed yet alert state. The perfect combination. As I always say, chocolate makes everything better. At the edge of my vision, I notice movement outside the window facing Main Street. Customers? My pulse races, and not just because of the cacao speeding it up. Please be customers. Please be a whole big rich extended family of skiers in fancy down jackets craving loads of chocolate after a long day on the slopes. But then I see who it is, and my heart screeches to a stop. He's practically hidden inside a cluster of kids from school, the royalty of 7th grade, the faces that everyone knows, even the 8th graders, which actually isn't saying much because the middle school's small, just 50 kids per grade, although it feels bigger. Leo and I did kindergarten through 6th at a bilingual elementary school with a grand total of 15 kids in our grade. Anyway, there he is, smack in the center of the little throng. Leo de la Cueva. De la Cueva is his last name, of the cave. It makes you wonder what exactly his ancestors did to earn such a mysterious title. Leo has always occupied the right atrium of my heart, which incidentally has started beating again, disturbingly fast. He was my best friend for 12 years. That is, if babies can be best friends. All our lives, his mom has worked in the small law office upstairs. Neves and my mom used to share the cost of babysitters to watch Leo and me in the chocolate shop. When we were old enough, the babysitters stopped coming, but Leo and I kept hanging out together, making chocolate and experimenting with recipes, playing by the stream and climbing the cottonwood in the back courtyard. Now he glances into the shop window, and for a terrifying second I think he's caught me staring. But no, it's so bright outside, with snow and sunshine, he's probably just looking at his reflection. Lately, he's actually started caring what he looks like. Dark, floppy hair half covering his eyes, cold, rosy cheeks, a creamy wool sweater, worn jeans. I want to look away, but I keep staring. It's weird watching him, knowing he can't see me, like a one-way mirror. And that's how it's felt all year. Leo turns away to follow the others, who are staring at their phones while cutting across the street towards Donut Delight. Donut Delight, the reason why El Corazon has been near empty for a year. Donut Delight moved in once the art gallery closed after a year of fires and floods and a terrible downswing in tourism. Donut Delight, with its enormous fluorescent yellow banner advertising 99-cent donuts and hot chocolate. Never mind that their so-called fresh-baked donuts come in shipments of frozen dough, chock full of preservatives and bursting with artificial flavor and color, assembled at some factory in China. And their hot chocolate makes my soul shudder, and Mom's too. Watery brown stuff, too sweet, with corn syrup, and fattened with partially hydrogenated oils and whey products. Worst of all, they vent their ovens straight to Main Street. You can't walk within a block of the place without getting bombed by chemicals specially designed to make your mouth water. Atrocious. There's a line in Donut Delight stretching out the door and down the icy sidewalk. Leo and his friends are shivering and stamping their feet, but apparently they think it's worth the wait. Every once in a while, Leo glances over at El Corazon. Does he feel guilty for betraying us? I turn away, start wiping the counter, even though it's sparkling clean. The bells on our door jingle, and I glance hopefully at the entrance. But it's just Mom, carrying grocery sacks of toilet paper and cleaners. She sets the bags behind the counter, unwraps her alpaca scarf, and sweeps her gaze around the shop, takes in the emptiness. It's nothing new. Business has been sluggish for so long that we don't talk about it anymore. We've cut way back on how much chocolate we produce. Still, most of our truffles have ended up going to homeless shelters the day before they expire. "Hey, Coco," she says, nervously tightening her ponytail. Her hair is red and wavy and long, bordering on frizzy. She used to do elaborate inside-out French braids with little fringy curlicues and weave-in blooms from the flower shop next door. Now she's using a grubby terry cloth scrunchie. "Hey, Mom." I feel my own hands mirroring her nervous hair fiddling. My own hair is long and wavy too, but it's caramel brown, the exact color of the unusually large freckles on my nose. I wear my hair swept partly back in a simple braid, and always have. Once I've found something that works, why change? I'm practical that way. Loyal. A creature of habit, Mom says. A hobbit, Leo used to say. "How's it going, Cocoa Bean?" There's something way too cheerful about her voice. "Más o menos," I say, twisting my braid, feeling guarded. I speak Spanish fluently because of the bilingual elementary I went to. But Mom just knows a few basic phrases. "Listen, Sweet Bean, I've been wanting to talk to you about something." My insides freeze. No good can come of a conversation that begins with false cheer. "What about?" I ask warily. She pauses, tugs off her fleece jacket, sucks in a long breath. "About El Corazon, honey." And from her voice, I can guess what she's about to say. The top left quadrant of my heart suddenly aches, as if a window has opened, letting an icy wind shoot inside. Quickly, I mumble, "I can't talk now," and rush to the back office and lock the door. But no, I can't stay here. Any minute now she'll knock and I'll have to answer. I shuffle through the dresser beside the pull-out couch and grab my red swimsuit. I tear off my clothes, drop them on a heap on the floor, and put on my swimsuit. I can't find my robe or flip-flops, so I just fling open the office door. And before she can say anything else, I rush down the hall and out the back door. Barefoot, I step into the snow. A shock of cold on my toes. It zips straight to the hole in my chest. Holes, really. It's not just the left atrium that's abandoned. It's Leo's spot, too, in the right atrium. He's barely spoken a word to me all year, ever since 7th grade started. And while I'm spilling my guts, I'll admit that the right ventricle, My mother's spot is pretty drafty, too. For the past year, she's been like a robot, running the chocolate shop with pretend joy, but her batteries have been draining, and any day now, she might just stop. Goosebumps pop up over my bare skin. I hug my arms tightly, cradling my bony elbows in my palms. I'm proof that chocolate does not make you fat. At least high quality chocolate like ours doesn't. I am just about a pound a day, and still my body is all sharp, awkward angles. My legs and arms are basically twigs. When girls moan, OMG, I wish I was naturally skinny, trust me, this isn't what they have in mind. With the red swimsuit as my only insulation, I head deeper into the snow to try to warm my flesh and bones and heart. My heart that feels like our nearly deserted truffle freezer. Chapter 2: The Underground Heart. Our town is called Heartbeat Springs because of the hot river that thrums beneath the earth like pulsing veins of blood. They make a deep rhythmic bubbling, a thump, thump, thump. And the heartbeat is strongest in our courtyard, right here in the nook of the stream where I've settled under the giant cottonwood tree. In this spot, hot water gurgles up from the earth and mixes with cold mountain snow runoff to create the perfect temperature. Upstream and downstream, the river is mostly iced over, except for a smattering of other cozy nooks like ours. Beneath me, underwater stones are arranged just perfectly to sit on, a mostly submerged throne. The foaming surface of the creek skims my collarbones like a lacy collar of a magical gown. Every couple of minutes, when my head feels chilled, I dunk it to warm it up. Around me, the courtyard is a nest-like space, tucked in on all four sides. To the east and west rise tall fences, where trumpet vines and honeysuckle climb in the summer. On the north side stretches a row of 3-story-high, century-old buildings, one of which, the Roost, houses our chocolate shop and its porch, where we arrange tables in warm weather. About 50 paces away, on the south side, towers a craggy gray wall of mountain, a rocky mountain to be exact. Leaning against the stone and scattered around the courtyard are dozens of rusted metal robots, sculpted creatures right at home in this strange habitat. In the middle of it all, the cottonwood tree's 4 limbs rise from its base, close enough to the ground to form a perfect sitting spot inside. It's almost like 4 separate trunks have joined into one to form a royal throne, or a pirate ship, or hobbit nook, depending on how you look at it. Not that I can see much of that now. The rising steam shrouds me in a mysterious cloud, and I let myself float off, somewhere far away, somewhere like a sultry jungle. My eyes drift closed, and tendrils of steam move through my pores, and the tree roots reach deep into my vessel, sending a silent song through my blood, planting the seed of a dream. Clang, clang, clang. My eyelids shoot open. I sit upright, jarred out of my dozing. Blinking, I situate myself back in the hot springs in this snowy courtyard. Footsteps are clanking on the metal staircase, slow and careful. Gally must be coming down from his upstairs apartment. I can't see through the steam, but I call out, "Hey, Gally!" Galileo Gallo occupies my left ventricle. Gally is any kid's dream grandfather, even though he's more of an adoptive one for me. He owns the Roost. His last name means rooster in Spanish, and rents us space for El Corazon for an unusually small fee. In the 13 years we've been here, he hasn't raised the rent once. He's a creator, too. He doesn't use the word artist. He just makes stuff, especially robots of all sizes, made from old parts of cars and tractors and machines and tins and cans. Some of the robots are twice my size, and some are as big as my pinky. Each of his robots has a tiny hidden treasure inside, like a smooth pebble, or a snail shell, or a glass bead. "Hello, Coco," he says, and I can tell by his voice that he's truly happy to encounter me. He's from Spain and speaks English with a slight accent, each syllable precise and thoughtful. His footsteps come closer, and once he's a couple of paces away, I can see him, all wavy and ghost-like through the steam. "How's your heart, my dear?" That's his standard greeting. His equivalent to, "How's it going?" "My heart," I reply, "could be fuller." "How so?" I can't see his eyes well, but if I could, they'd be concerned and kind. I'm sure of it. I can make out the cloud of white hair around his face, just grazing his shoulders. He's wearing his favorite tattered, stained mechanic's jacket that must be even older than Mom, his version of an art smock. I'm not usually a complainer, and I pride myself on that fact, but there's no other way to say it. My voice is grave. El Corazon might be. I search for the word that captures the tragedy of it all. Dying, I finish. Through the mist, he shakes his head sadly. "Oh, Coco, my dear, remember the secret to happiness." He knows 10,000 secrets to happiness and tosses them around like confetti. Which one is he thinking of now? Chocolate makes everything better, I venture. I tried that, but lately it's not working so great. "I'm thinking of a different one, my dear." The thing about feeling hopeless is that it's hard to recall secrets to happiness, even if you've had hundreds of them memorized for years like multiplication facts. I twist my fingers around my crystal necklace, the comforting one I've worn my whole life, shuffling through the few secrets I can remember. Smelling flowers, walking in nature, breathing deep. None seem promising at the moment. "Which one, Gally?" "Every day, even just for a minute, think about whom and what you love." I've tried that one too, I admit, and I let the truth pour out because if anyone can handle it, it's Gally. Everything, everyone I care about. I begin searching for words. The more tightly I hold, the more they all slip away. "Then you'll have to find some other way, my dear." I take this in, shifting my feet to rest on an underwater footstool rock, letting my bony kneecaps poke up through the surface like steaming volcanic islands. "Like what?" He tilts his head, pondering. "For starters, have you considered smiling?" There isn't a trace of sarcasm in his voice, only genuine curiosity. And he has good reason to ask. I was once kind of famous in Heartbeat Springs for my smile. Not that it's anything special. In fact, my upper left front tooth overlaps my right pretty significantly. It's just that my smile showed up a lot on my face without any effort, probably a side effect of chronic long-term chocolate exposure. As a little kid, when I brought customers their steaming cups of sipping chocolate, the smell of it made me want to smile, and so I did. And I noticed that my smile made the customers smile. Or maybe, now that I think about it, they were smiling at the chocolate headed for them. Either way, it was like my smile had a life of its own. I'd wanted to be on stage on my face, in the limelight, and I let it shine. Even with our occasional grumpy customers, I would assure them, "Chocolate makes everything better," and toss in a free heart. They'd always smile back at that and listen attentively when I listed the delightful neurotransmitters released by chocolate. But lately, even with truffle-induced endorphins and serotonin and dopamine, my smile has been hiding in the shadows, paralyzed by stage fright or something. I tell it to come into the light, but it just lurks around off stage. Like if it shows itself, there might be no one out there watching or caring. Okay, Gally, I say finally, I'll consider smiling. I pause, the tiniest hint of a grin tugging at the corner of my mouth. And I'll keep my eyes open for some other way. He bends down in a strained, creaky motion and places a wee robot on the wet stone in front of me. For you, my dear Coco. Ever so slowly, he turns and shuffles down the path, then clanks up the stairs. Even in the snow muffle, I can hear him wheezing, pausing every few seconds to catch his breath. Gally's always been as reliable as a big old-fashioned ticking clock, but he's changed this past year, cutting our conversations short, leaving when the party's just getting started. He used to give off a long, steady heat, like a cozy fireplace that made you feel loved and unique in the universe. And that's been flickering now lately, as if his flames need more oxygen. With steam-slippery fingers, I open the miniature hinged door of the robot's chest. Inside is another door, even tinier than the first. Inside that, the heart, a bright red seed. And accidentally, I smile. I'm going to stop there. That was the first chapter and a half of the book. And again, it was Tree of Dreams by Laura Resau. If you'd like to find out what happens, you can check this book out from the library. So thank you very much for coming today.